Yes, is the very short answer. It's something that I'm seeing because even over the last 10 years since I left my last job, and I've been doing this full time, more and more I'm getting called to come into businesses that are really struggling, particularly with the younger people coming into the workforce that are really just struggling just with coping with just general life, and that they're finding just day-to-day things like following direction. They might say that they feel like they're being bullied, or a disappointment would be labeled as a significant mental health challenge. And it seems to be what's happened since, like I was in high school in the 90s, and I think sort of it must have been probably from the 2000s onwards, there was a real pendulum swing that it was like, okay, we really need to build kids' self-esteem. Mm-hmm. And so it got to the point where it was like, it was all about, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. We need to protect you from any challenges. And what it ended up becoming was, we've got the last two generations are almost the everyone gets a trophy generation. So you just get, here's your trophy just for showing up. They stopped keeping score in young kids' sport. We stopped getting a lot of the time grades on report cards in the younger years. But ultimately, life is competitive. Once you get older, you're going to compete for jobs. You're going to, you're going to get rejected. You're going to get rejected when you ask someone out. And so we've got to the point where there's just been so much focus on protecting children and not disappointing them, that it's created a really big issue. And I think if you're looking at ways that if you've got young people that that are around you, or children yourself, I think probably that some of the biggest things you can start to do is ask that, what's the best thing that happened in your day. Another thing that is totally underrated is allowing young people to get bored, because there's almost like if they're constantly entertained, whether it's with a screen or with a parent, or it's like their entire days is filled with stuff. But one of the best things we can do is allow ourselves to get bored, because then we become resourceful, we become imaginative, we become creative. And just so not just always entertaining them is a big one. Don't buy them everything on their Christmas list. Allow them just even those little micro disappointments. I also find sports, children's sports are an amazing thing. And then getting them to, just to work with others, to again, I think even when they don't keep score, they still kind of know who's winning and losing. They can keep track themselves. And I love that, Sam. You say, yeah, the issue is not trying not to fix everything. So yeah, it's allowing them to fail. And then working with them, workshopping with them. So how can you do that? So I think that's a big thing. Get them to focus on the good. Get them to realize that life's not all, it's not all easy. And I think as you've got older children, I think really have good conversations with them, particularly around social media, because social media is that there's no coincidence that the incredible rise in, depression and anxiety in young people, particularly in young women, is completely linked to the introduction of the smartphone and younger people having access to smartphones. So, trying to be really conscious that what people see online is not real life. It's the very, very curated highlights, and to just really encourage particularly people of all ages to connect in person, to do things in person, to get outdoors. If you've got little kids, get them to play outside, get them to play with other kids, give them, age appropriate tasks to do, give them a sense of responsibility, because I think linked with the lack of resilience in younger people is a lack of personal responsibility and accountability as well. So the younger we can start to give them things like that to do is it's going to make a huge difference. And it's also going to make the workplace a lot more easier to manage as well, when you don't have people that just walk out of a job because they don't like the person that they sit next to. And I'm hearing that over and over again from my corporate clients. So it's a really big issue. And I think it's going to take a lot of work to it's a big ship to start to steer back around, but I really do hope that, you know, with parents becoming more aware of this, that it becomes more of a focus.